you doing?
Good. Hi, Sid. How are ya?
I'm good. Thanks so much for joining us. How's it going over in Florida today?
It's going pretty well. I mean, the weather's been wonderful, thankfully. So even though we are in quarantine and doing the social distancing thing, we can at least get outside and enjoy the nice weather.
And you've been doing lots of workouts, right? I've been following your YouTube channel.
Yes. So we have been doing workouts every single, well, 6 days a week from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. And at home workouts, and all of our members have been doing them at home and sending us videos and pictures, and it's been a good time.
Absolutely. Have you seen trainers doing one-on-one live sessions, but on video call or?
No, I have seen that. So I've seen a lot of trainers doing one-on-ones with Zoom. I actually see a lot of physical therapists and athletic trainers as well doing rehab via Zoom and FaceTime. And I think that in the beginning, everyone was kind of nervous and didn't know what to do, and everyone kind of like stopped doing whatever. People stopped training, trainers were losing clients. And I think now that we've been in this for so long, people are kind of picking back up and being like, you know what, I can't do this. Like, I can Zoom in with my trainer. They know me, they know how I move, they can motivate me from a screen. So I think that that's great that we're able to still connect at that level, despite the fact that we're all social distancing.
That totally makes sense. And I was going to ask about the motivation with the client
Mhm.
members at the gym. Have you seen the motivation kind of go in a wave, or sort of what's that look like?
I've seen the opposite. I've seen the motivation go up. So the cool thing with our Scorch members is they have their own Scorch community basically. And so they've been building each other up back and forth. Now I'm doing the workouts live. I'm dying during the workouts. They know I'm dying. I'm telling them. Like, so we're all in this together basically. And I think that builds this camaraderie that, hey, like even my trainer is going through what I'm going through.
And from that, what advice do you have for people who might be lacking
Mhm.
motivation or maybe trying to get back into things or maybe want to start something? What advice do you have for them?
So the biggest piece of advice I have is to find your why. So I've been in this industry for a very long time, and I've trained thousands upon thousands of people. And I hear the same goals all the time. I want to lose 5 pounds. I want to have abs. Like, I want to lean out. I want to be toned, whatever it is. And I always ask why. Why do you want that? And most of the time, the why isn't a strong enough why to actually drive them to stay motivated. So, and this is going to sound funny or crazy, but when people come in and they say they want to lose 5 pounds, normally anything aesthetic wise, I call them vanity goals, and people think that's crazy. But when it comes down to it, why do you want to lose 5 pounds? I want to look better in my clothes. Well, why do you want to look better in your clothes? Well, because I don't feel comfortable. Why don't you feel comfortable? Well, I need to work on my self esteem. Okay, there we go. We're going to focus on yourself. The why is having better self esteem. You're going to get that through training. You're going to get that through being stronger. You're going to get that through sticking to something. And before you know it, you've lost those 5 pounds. You get the aesthetic goal, but you're actually happier in the long run. So find your why. Why are you training? Why are you running? Why are you doing all of these things? Is it for your family, for your business, for your mental health, whatever it is? Figure out your deep rooted why. And then that's going to make it so that in the days that you don't feel as motivated, you're going to be able to get up and kind of push through.
And so, how long have you been using Lumen now?
It's probably honestly been like 7 or 8 months at this point. Yeah, I got into Lumen before I harassed Lumen so I could get into Lumen before everybody else was in Lumen. I found Lumen and I just kept prodding until I was able to buy a device. So yeah, I've been using Lumen for about 8 months now, and then our gym members have been using it probably for about 5 to 6.
What was it that made you say, I have to have that? I have to use it?
As an exercise science nerd, I have always been into just how the body works. And one of the biggest things and the coolest things I learned when I was in school was about respiratory quotient or RQ values and being able to figure out if your body was in carb burn or fat burn. And so when we were in school back in the day, we used to have to sit in a bubble, and we'd breathe out and it would register our CO2. 45 minutes later, we'd have this cool number. And so I remember finding Lumen and being like, what do you mean you can breathe in this and it's going to measure my CO2 levels and tell me like what my values are? And I actually was super skeptical at first. So I asked all like the science questions and acted like I knew what I was talking about. And they also knew what they were talking about. The people I was talking to, I'm like, oh, we're all on the same page. Awesome. So the idea that we could take a individual like device for each person, and then they could literally blow into it and get this reading To me, it just changed the game for nutrition and for training. So a lot in the fitness industry, what I'm seeing is that people go into fad diets, whether it's low carb, high fat, or high protein, low fat, or whatever it is. With those fad diets, like they do work for some people, but they don't work for everybody. So understanding what your metabolism is doing and understanding what your body is doing is one, not only going to help you like reach your goals, but two, it's going to create a healthier metabolism, which then is going to help you with your immune system. It's going to help you with stress. It's going to help you with your emotions and your habits. And there's so many things. And finally having the knowledge of what your body is doing, I think is incredible and critical to the longevity of whatever it is that you're training for.
And how have you seen it? Like, how have you seen the members at Scorch who are using Lumen and their at-home workouts? How have you seen that kind of play together? And, you know, have you seen nutritional changes with them with using Lumen?
So I definitely have seen that. So one of the things with now that we've moved to home workouts, so Scorch workouts do involve a weightlifting component. We have barbells, we move, we deadlift, we bench, we squat, we do heavier weights. Now, since people are at home, they're not doing those heavier weights. So the stimulus on the body is different. So we're using a different energy system, and which needs a different fuel. So with the Lumen, it's great because people can see what they need to eat and what they need to consume and when they need to consume it to maintain the muscle mass that they had in here. And then as well, continue to burn fat while they're at home.
And so when we get out of this, you know, whenever that might be, when we start to go back to what, you know, life was before, you know, commuting work and having those busier lives, how would you recommend that people keep these healthy habits that they've built, like cooking at home, buying groceries, maybe doing more workouts, into Lumens? How would you recommend that they keep on that track?
So your why is not going to change when you get out of this quarantine. Like it's not a set, and I say this to our members and I sit down with our members and we kind of go over this, but set an 18-month goal for yourself right now. Like where are you in a year and a half? So that way, when we get out of this, it's not like that, like it's not like a shock. For the first time, we're not busy. And I think that people are realizing that there were some things in our lives that we were doing necessarily. And so really look at those too, because you only have so much willpower in a day, and you're going to burn it up if you stay super busy. Now, when you burn up that willpower, what's going to happen? You're going to eat ice cream at night. You're going to have pizza. You're going to have these things that make you feel terrible, but not because you're a bad person or you suck at dieting. It's because you literally ran out of willpower because you were so busy all day. So start to think about what in your life is truly important and you truly want to focus on, and then make those your priorities. So that's kind of the big thing is that throughout this quarantine, remember that when you come out of it, you're an individual. Your body works a certain way. It doesn't work the same way as anybody else. Take that knowledge and use it as power. I mean, I tell people education is the best thing that you could ever have.
What was the biggest thing that you learned? Or like, what did Lumen teach you?
Lumen actually showed me, so I was the bad, busy person before this social distancing quarantine, and I didn't get much sleep. So even though my nutrition was on, my training was on, I lacked sleep. And I could actually see through Lumen how my metabolism was affected with how much I was sleeping or with how much I was not sleeping. So my body would have issues burning fat when I was sleep deprived. And so that was the biggest thing for me. It was saying, okay, you know what? If I'm going to truly take care of myself and practice what I preach, I have to sleep more. And then I will say for my members, it's actually something different. So my members noticed that they could eat more carbohydrates than they thought, and it increased their metabolism. So that was my favorite part for them. So for me, it was sleep. For them, it was realizing that carbohydrates are an energy source. They're not like terrible creatures that just make you fat.
And what's your favorite healthy carb? It doesn't have to be like one that you learned from Lumen, but what's your favorite healthy carb?
Jasmine rice.
Nice. Good call. So, you know, with your experience and your knowledge, last question. You know, for the female members and all the females who are watching, how is their metabolism affected by their cycle and the phases in the month?
Yeah, so your metabolism is directly affected by your cycle, whether it's right before, right afterwards. So our hormones constantly change. So your estrogen and progesterone levels kind of do this weird little like loop-de-loop thing. This is my way of doing a loop-de-loop. And so your body is going to hold on to water. It's going to burn carbs differently. It's going to burn fat differently. And it's almost impossible without an actual like device that reads what your metabolism is to know what's happening. Now, when it comes to training, there's certain times in the month where we're actually stronger because of those hormones, or certain times of the month where we're actually more prone to injury. And it's the same thing where we're more, a certain time of the month where we're more sensitive to carbohydrates. And then times when we need more protein. Now, when it comes to women, because we fluctuate so much, I always tell our members, like, weigh yourself once a month on the same day. Like, that's how much your body fluctuates hormonally. So you could gain 5 to 7 pounds of water, or you could be like super dehydrated, all because of your hormones. And so it's really important that you start to understand your cycle and kind of how it affects you as an individual. Because if you can change your fuel, so your food, your intake around that, you're going to feel so much better.
How many of your members would you say are actually educated about the impact of their workout on their cycle, or that their cycle, you know, is actually impacting their workout or their nutrition?
Honestly, I mean, we do everything we can to educate our members on all facets of nutrition training. And when I say educate, not coming from some like fad, just my opinion, like coming from actual science, actual studied, like studies that have been around and third-party researched and all that kind of stuff. It would help make everyone healthier and happier. But two, it would give, I think, a greater sense of empowerment to women and their training. Because I see so many women who come in and they're like, I gained 3 pounds, and it's literally crushing them. And if they just understood that those 3 pounds were because of water, because of where they were in their cycle, and they knew that they were a little bit more carb sensitive during that time, I think that it would change the mental psyche for women. We'll have world peace, honestly.